for sure. Yeah. Woody set that hillside behind me there on fire one time.
I did.
How'd you set it on fire?
I was shooting I was trying to shoot a paint can with a shotgun that had dragon's breath in it so that the paint can would catch fire. And the dragon's breath was landing in the field back there. And I knew that I was making little fires, but I thought they'd be easily stomped out.
Yeah.
I may have overestimated the difference between the fires and my cardio because it was a challenge. And it was hot. And I'm running from fire to fire.
Right.
The fires are growing, right? Once a fire gets to a certain size, it becomes a real problem. And
that's a great
is that from Glenn Beck's wave? Glenn Beck ran a fucking article about me on how I was an irresponsible gun owner.
That piece of shit, Glenn Beck.
So anyway, I think Kyle eventually came up with that cooler that had water in it. Because what was happening when fire gets to a certain size, it gets really hard to put out.
Yeah.
So, that wasn't me. So I would stomp it down to like 80% gone, like down to 20% of its previous size, and then move on to the next one. Why did I take it to 0? Well, the next one was getting too big to handle. So I was just sort of playing whack-a-mole. All sort of grew back up. And once we got water involved, they stayed put out.
After that, I started bringing... my dad has a PTO powered sprayer for his tractor. It's a big tank. It's hundreds of gallons, maybe 300, maybe 500. And you've got a wand and it makes a ton of pressure and shoots forever. So we just use that thing as a fire truck after that. No matter how big of a fire you made, you could put it out with that thing. It's no problem.
My dad set a hillside on fire once with dragon's breath. I feel like that's a pretty universal experience for people who shoot dragon's breath. My dad's was funny though,
find out.
Because he was like, it was like a lot of rocks on this hillside, and then there was a hillside adjacent to it that like had like grass or whatever. So I was shooting it the whole time, and it was fine. He's like, I want to see that. So he fires it at a rock over on the rock, and you can just see like a little spark go. And it lands over in the grass, sets it on fire. So we're laughing at him. And the only thing we had in our truck with us was golf clubs because we had just got done golfing. So he takes a club and he runs down there and he's beating the grass with it. So of course I'm laughing. My cousin there, he was laughing. We were all cracking up. And at one point he's out of breath and he turns around to us and goes, "Help me!" So we all get golf clubs, ran out there, we beat that fire into submission. It was a great time. But yeah,
with like a 9-iron. That's not a great tool for it. I feel like you'd just be chipping little bits of flaming grass.
It was like the fireman thing where they like build a ditch around a forest fire so that it doesn't spread. It was like that going on, but with grass, much less dramatic.
I've never started a fire on a hillside, but I've never shot a dragon breath round, so that actually lines up.
Yeah, there you go. The theory.
I've started a lot of fires on hillsides that had nothing to do with YouTube.
Well, you were just bored.
Yeah, like just making fire. Yeah, fire was always fun. I started a lot of fires growing up, not in like a creepy way, like, yeah, watch it burn, but just having a good old time, just wanting to see what would happen because we would often have trash piles, or we'd pushed up a bunch of old trees and soak in those things with like 5 gallons of gasoline until the vapors sort of fill in all the hollow places in the trees and everything, and then throw in a flaming torch at that. It's a crazy explosion. It's a lot of, you feel it. It sucks the air toward it because it's just such a big instant flame. It needs oxygen. It's real cool.
I didn't do that, but as a kid, I used to start campfires all the time. Just random days after school, I go into the woods and start campfires. I loved it. I was a Boy Scout and they taught me how to do it. And it was like, you don't have to even go camping. You can just do this anytime you want. And sure enough, that was true.
I can do the fire without the camping part? No way.
Yeah, I loved it. I still love it. I'm ever since I was a kid, I was like, if you go camping, I'm the campfire guy. I don't want to say I take control of the fire. That makes it sound like I'm an asshole, but it's more like a service I provide.
I didn't get to make one fire on the survival trip every single time. Woody's over there.
That might be true.
I was chipping once, and he came and he ran like a baseball sliding into home and went in it before I could even stop him.
Didn't you also get like very ill on that trip though?
That's trip number 1. And
yeah.
Woody put something in my water. Woody was in charge of filling the water bottles on that
his
trip.
fault.
Yeah. He put turtle shit in my water. I don't know. That was a terrible time. I remember. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I know when I finally, like 6 hours later, I stopped in Anderson, South Carolina, at a Jack in the Box, and I was like, I finally felt like I could eat a little food, and I just ordered French fries. And when I ate them, the top of my mouth broke out in sores, and I spat them out and went, well, I guess we won't eat tonight. Just kept driving on. Like, whatever's wrong with me is really bad.
That must have been terrible. Yeah, we made the right call to leave. It was raining as we walked out.
The true survivalist experience.
We're walking out because the river likely will trap us on the sort of finger that we're currently existing on our island or wherever we are, and if I get any worse, then we're stuck, and now we've actually got a problem
like medevac him out or something.
But I die, or I probably just try to man it up and probably be okay.
Die.
But it would
Bro,
be terrible.
oh my, if FPSRussia died on the trip that Wing skipped out of, Woody would be a millionaire. Woody would be a millionaire.
Woody would have been like he's hits that footage. He's got the blanket bundled around him and like a cup of steaming cocoa. And she's I tried to get him off. I stared until my hands went numb, and I lost consciousness.
My sense of direction is so bad. If I went to get help, I'd be like, I don't know where I left him. I'm just not good at that.
It wasn't me. You're being taken off in cuffs. It was the Muffin Man. It was the Muffin Man. Muffin Man killer.
I still remember on the walkout, we'd already crossed a river at night. We're leaving, and we crossed the river in the darkness, and we're walking up the other side toward our car, which is, I don't know how far away, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes.
4:30 a.m. or something.
It's midnight. I remember it. I remember it being like midnight. The moon's out.
Like midnight. I don't know. Sure, it's the cars.
Yeah, but we're on that walk, and I remember we saw some frogs and like mud puddles on and you were like, "Oh, look, frogs." Because you're still in the mode of like, maybe we'll catch and eat one, and I'm just splash, 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 splash. Okay. I'm like, yeah, frogs. Because I'm thinking like, I don't think I could eat bread. If you had some warm saltine crackers with peanut butter on them, I think I would. like gag right now, and then these frogs in the puddle are look, Kyle, frogs.
You like that, don't you, boy?
I'm just splash like the cars are this way, Woody. I think the cars are right up here. I still have never eaten frog legs, but that would have been, if we'd seen those frogs earlier in the day, they'd have been it. The second trip was interesting too. I've always said I will never do a third one without, I don't know, you'd have to pay
without wings.
Without wings.
You know what? Honestly, after like the Lolcow podcast, the boxing match, and all that, you might be able to get it. It's possible. Of course, I've never met the guy, but it feels like he's had a change of heart a bit recently.
You never know. What I would say is that there are a lot better. There are things that would be better for video purposes and content creation purposes than us going out into the woods. Because I'm telling you, we've done that a couple times, and we inevitably get out there and we're like, shit, now we're here.
We're starving. Let's conserve our energy by doing nothing all the time.
Yeah, now we're here.
We could bring board games. I could teach you guys to play Magic the Gathering. We could do that for hours and hours and hours.
Now, if you're talking about,
wouldn't it be funny if we were there with absolutely nothing to do and I still wouldn't learn Magic the Gathering?
Remember what game about it?
We played the fucking letter game. Like I say apple, and you say blueberry, and he says
I spy something that begins with T. Tree. Fuck.
It's you, isn't it, Taylor? It's you.
It's me. It's Taylor or the tree.
What would be a lot of fun, I think, Wings probably wouldn't be down for something like this, but just like content to a similar degree between creators. Yeah, are you familiar with like the board game Hunt a Killer? Like how that whole thing works?
No.
Where it's
a subscription service, right?
Yeah, it's like a game where you're given clues to a murder. It's like a game of Clue, only instead of it being a board game, you're given like notes that have like newspaper reports. You have to get clues from.
I've done shit like that. Yeah, it's fun.
Something similar to that. But I've wanted to do this for a video for a while, and I don't know how exactly the logistics of it would work. But if you had a game like that, only instead of it just being like, oh, here's all the pieces, let's put it together, you spread it over like a pretty large forested area. You were to give like grid coordinates that people would have to figure out with like a compass and map how to get to. And then there's like multiple red herring routes that they could track between stuff like that. I think that would be a fun way to get Woods content out of something.
What do you think?
I'd try it.
Well, so here's the thing. You know, we would struggle with an escape room. So sending us into the wilderness with a map and a compass.
Remember when we did struggle with
Woody knows how to use a map and a compass. I would wager that he has some training, but the average person probably thinks they know how to use a map and a compass and navigate. Maybe it like not a geological map, a topography type map that's showing like elevate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. I don't think you do. If you think you do, unless you were in some sort of program.
I've taken classes and training routes on how to do it, so I understand how complicated it is, which is why it would be great content. You misunderstand, Kyle. I'm not expecting people to do good at this test. Nay, quite the contrary.
Looking pretty
you
fun,
can get that
I won't do that well either.
What you would do, like just make us walk to the top of Currahee, but there's nothing up there when we get there, and then watch us blame. Like, no, you translated it. You said you had all three pieces. Wings is like, there was 4 pieces. I had one. That kind of shit is funny. Where like we thought there were 3 clues and there was a 4th, and we walked to the top of a mountain. With Wings would take an hour. Like and look, I've hustled up that mountain before. It doesn't matter how fit you are. You know you just ran up a mountain. It sucks.
When did you guys do an escape room?
We went to Colorado
like 7 years ago
Super
or something.
Bowl.
I would love an escape room.
I think it was like
I'm not particularly good at it or anything.
We were way too high, and it
wasn't a good escape room.
It wasn't a good escape room. We were very high, and I think all of us lost interest.
That's their fault, not ours.
There weren't like dungeons or chains on the wall. It was kind of just like escape this Manila boring office room.
It was bullshit. And I immediately wanted out, but I was staying to humor everyone else, and I was kind of gauging everyone like, and at a certain time the temperature of the room was that most people were kind of done with it, and then I just sat down. Because I did.
You were terrible for morale.
I would be there for people, but nobody really wanted to be there to begin with. And I don't remember whose idea it was, but it was a great idea. But that one in particular blew. Because like you said, we're just in a room full of like, maybe we put a coffee table here, and under one of the cups will be a clue. Yeah, write that down. Fuck you. Send me to like a place that looks like a haunted mansion. Send me to a place that has a wine orchard in the back and that I have to explore. Send me to a place with cornrows. Send me to a place that has all 3 of those things and a cellar. Make me work for it. I would love to do a bed and breakfast and scavenger hunt, like whatever the fuck type thing. That I'd be into. But I don't want it to be way too easy, and I don't want to be way too hard. At one point, she's over a microphone and like a speaker, like it's fucking high school. Yeah, you're running out of time, and I'm like, I'm fucking counting on it. You want me to? What you want to do is lift the 3rd candlestick. Like, no, I'm good. I see people start lifting the candlestick, and I'm trying to discourage everyone from playing along. I'm like, no, just fucking tell it. Do you care? Does anyone care? What could possibly be at the end of this other than a cue card that says you win?
Window.
Yeah, it's not actually locked, guys. Like we can just leave if we. I do remember.
Looks like it's from a western.
Yeah. Kyle, I do remember at the end of it.
Want to know how?
Yeah, at the end of it,
do you want to know how it ends?
Came in and was like, "Do you want to know how it completed? Like where you ended up because you were so close." And Kyle just went like, "No." Like, just no, like he had no interest in it. And I remember just kind of being like, yeah. Because I mean, she was clearly excited about showing us. And so
I think I walked out.
You did leave. As soon as that door came open, you were like, let's go back to the Airbnb and get higher.
Better escape room experience. I liked it. And I wish we did better. So I went with Chiz and there like some other Woodycraft staff. We did like a team building thing. And it was a pretty good escape room. Like you guys describe yours as Manila. This was like, I think they built this log cabin out of seemingly rustic wood. And there was like a cadaver open and stuff. Like it was pretty cool. And
find old Rufus's gold.
Something like that. Apparently we made it
get away, but
we solved about 2/3 of it in like a quarter of the time. And she's like, these guys might get it. Like we seem like we came out of the gate strong. And then the other third and the 3/4 of the time, we couldn't get it done. We didn't win.
Yeah.
I don't even care what theme it is. There just has to be a theme with like a backstory.
I need a prize because we're all working together for a thing. It should be a thing we share. And it should be a discount or a t-shirt. If we get a lobster dinner after this, let me say this. Let's say average is 50 minutes on this thing. An hour is a passing grade. If we knock this bitch out in 30, this should all be free and we should get a dinner.
Yeah, there should be tiered rewards.
Let me ask you this, Kyle. Would this be a suitable price? Because it would have been ours.
Okay.
This is a popular escape room. 1,000 groups have tried it. And there are like 2 groups with their pictures on the wall that beat it.
Oh, shit.
You want to be one of them?
I mean, yeah, I guess. Not honestly, no.
No, okay.
I don't.
I kind of wanted
picture on the wall doesn't interest me in the slightest, but like any sort of
depends how fat I am at the time.
Sure, that I suppose. Yeah, let this moment
I'm in good
live.
shape.
I didn't get that with the picture. I thought it was you were choosing between a meal and a picture.
Oh
no, I don't want my big fat mug up on there. We'll go like, wow, that fat idiot did it. Why can't we?
Because I'm not going to work hard to get my picture on their wall because I don't fucking care enough to care. Because I don't care that those pictures. Did you look at the flags and like, oh, look at
it's
him.
Just a trophy.
What was he thinking in that moment?
In that moment,
like, no, nobody cares.
He was thinking, lift the third candles.
But if he was thinking, look under the bottom. I'd need a prize. I need a prize or something, or somebody to beat. You know, we're all working together for a thing. I need another team to beat. And I need someone to lose for my win to matter in the slightest.
How about this? You get out first. They're trapped in the room for an extra hour. In their mirrored room. Your group gets out first.
Fucking game.
Now everybody's trying because you're going to straight up miss dinner.
So like 6 teams are working, and every time a team loses, 15 minutes mandatory added to everyone's stay. Oh my God.
No, every time a team wins.
Oh, every time they win. And do stages?
Yeah. So it's like
all right, now we're doing the vineyard.
Losers.
This portion is the vineyard. Old Mr. Taylor has hidden a bottle of wine. Blah, blah, blah. And then like they think they've got the clue, but they take off into the vineyard, but they don't listen to that last second like your teacher from middle school. And it's like, disregard everything above. Here is the bottle you win. Like one of those. I always expect one of those. And then I've never had that happen. I always read all the instructions. I've stayed at the end of every movie hoping. Never once have I been rewarded by you stay to the end, Kyle. You read all the instructions. You don't have to do a test. Get a 100. No one ever did that to me. But I heard that story in like 2nd grade. And so I think that's just a lie they tell you. So you read instructions.
It is total fibbery. They're not actually doing that. Wendigoon, have you done an escape room?
Oh yeah. That's typically if I'm like hanging out with a group of friends and we're in a town or whatever, we'll go do one. I've done several.
Ever beat one?
I don't think I've ever lost one. Typically, I'm in a group of like 5 or 6 people. The only one I technically lost was there's one we did in Cincinnati, and we got to like it was like a serial killer's house, I think was the theme. So like you found like murder weapons and stuff. There was one part where like I was in another room and I pulled a lever and I heard one of the girls in my group scream in the next room. And what had happened is when I pulled the lever, a skeleton dropped out of the ceiling and landed on her, which is very funny. But we got to the last step and we opened up a box and there's nothing in there. And then the timer ran out. There's like 3 minutes left. And we're like, okay, I guess we lost. And then the woman steps into the room. She's like, yeah, the key to the last door was in that box. We forgot to reset it. Here you go. And then I took the key and just opened it. And it was like a button that was like, you win. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I still won. That still counts.
That's a win.
We got the box open. So yeah,
That's
I haven't lost
administrator error. Yeah,
exactly.
I can get frustrated with that stuff too. Like in video games, like I really don't like puzzles most of the time. I've got to really care about this game if I'm going to sit here and turn knobs and pull candlesticks and try to figure it out. Baldur's Gate was the first game in a long time that I gave a shit enough to do all that stuff. There's a lot of that in there.
Well, the problem with like puzzles in games is often I feel like you bastards realized you didn't have enough content, and so you added like annoying little things here to slow me down. Like, this isn't fun. Having to wander around a Skyrim dungeon and like the difficulty being the darkness won't get light enough for you to physically see the icon above the, because that's how it used to be. Like playing Skyrim in 2011 on my shitty little TV in my college dorm. I remember being like, I don't know how many times I have to spin these goddamn pillars with the whale and the crow, and like, and I didn't watch any videos of how to do it, and so I didn't realize there were pictures above them,
right above,
because you couldn't see with the coloring of it. It was just
you got the first puzzle wrong. The first puzzle is the one where they say set it so you can see this one, but not that one. You set the gamma. I can see all of them, bitch. Turn the lights up. I'm not here to play Skyrim in the dark.
Now when I play games, I'm just like, it's like everybody's washed out. because
I don't want the whole game to be puzzles. Scorn, the whole game is puzzles. The whole game is puzzles.
If I know the
weird
whole game
biomechanical, creepy.
That's fine. It's a puzzle game.
Giger-like artwork. Everything's fleshy and disgusting. It's real gross. Scorn.
The puzzle,
it's nothing but puzzles.